Well, hello and welcome to another edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your weekly host, Chris Green, the Director of Network Growth for Avoya Travel, and we certainly appreciate your time. And what we really hope is that today you hear something that makes you want to take action, to find out more, sparks that curiosity within you, because my team would love to go and provide details about our best-in-class resources that are offered to the members of the Avoya Travel Network. We have a fantastic episode planned for you today. We have a great guest. Mickey McBride will be joining us here in just a few. Avoya Travel's Director of Partner Engagement for our Meet the Team feature. We have a lot of promotional news to discuss about ways for you to be able to join and become a member of the Avoya Travel Network. But first, let's take a look at this week's travel news with our Eye on the Industry feature and some industry insights. And wow, the industry was really buzzing. News out of Johns Hopkins University had not just the travel industry, but really all of the industries that have been severely impacted by COVID-19 just buzzing. Dr. Marty Makary from Johns Hopkins University said in an opinion piece that was published by Wall Street Journal that he believes, and he's basing this belief on several factors. One is lab testing and modeling. Two is the fact that COVID-19 infections have been down 77% across the country over the last 6 weeks. He also takes into account that 15% of society has already had the COVID-19 vaccination, and that natural immunity from people that have had the virus and have recovered, that natural immunity, when you combine all of that together, the good doctor, Dr. Marty Makary, believes that we could achieve herd immunity in the United States by April of this year. Now, the article was met with mixed reaction. Of course, those in the travel industry were very excited and took this as a fantastic sign that travel will be able to resume soon, while others, including some in the medical community, said that April and herd immunity might be a bit optimistic and urged caution and continued safety measures. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. Crystal Cruises has joined the short list of companies that plan to require a COVID-19 vaccination prior to being able to sail with them. Crystal Cruises interim CEO and president Jack Anderson was quoted as saying, "We know that peace of mind is the greatest luxury and that a vaccine requirement is simply the best way to ensure the safest possible Crystal experience for all on board." Crystal Cruises joined Saga Cruises out of Europe, as well as the American Queen Steamboat Company and its sister brand Victory Cruises in mandating passengers be fully vaccinated before they're going to be able to sail. Speaking of the American Queen Steamboat Company, its parent company, the Hornblower Group, finalized its purchase of Short Trips this week in a Wisconsin bankruptcy court. That sale price reported at $1.7 million. The excursion company went belly up last year and left many passengers awaiting refunds on prior purchases that they had made and then had been canceled. Now, while those guests will be receiving partial refunds due to the sale, many passengers will not be receiving a full 100% refund due to the bankruptcy court proceedings. Canada's unexpected delay in cruising until at least the end of February of 2022 continues to have a ripple effect in our industry. Princess and Holland America announcing this week they're pulling all sailings that had originated in Canada for 2021 based on, again, that Canada regulation. They're still leaving out hope that they're going to be able to work out an agreement between the Canadian government, the United States government, and themselves to be able to partially save some of the Alaska season, at least with some sailings going out of Seattle. Seabourn Cruises also canceled its full 2021 Alaska British Columbia season, and that impacts 19 sailings on the Seabourn Odyssey. And finally, some positive news on the cruising front, and this comes from our friends at Royal Caribbean. RCL reported its fourth quarter numbers this week, and while they lost a lot, I mean, they lost a lot of money in 2020. The news is really positive when you look at the future, and their CEO, Richard Fain, discussed that bookings for the end of 2021 into 2022 are actually within historical ranges, and they're actually selling at a higher price point than they did back in 2019. So that's a really positive step for the travel agent community, right? I mean, better yields means more money in all of our pockets. They also reported that 75% of future cruises are new bookings, and they're not related at all to those holding future cruise credits. So that's another positive sign. And Wall Street saw it as a very positive sign too, with Royal Caribbean stock being up as of this morning when I checked, a whopping 32% week over week. Royal Caribbean is certainly one of our highly preferred vendors here at Avoya Travel, and we look forward to all of this good news playing out in real time. As we move forward with our next segment, I'm always excited for you to meet the team. And this week we have a wonderful guest in Mickey McBride. Mickey is the Director of Partner Engagement for Avoya Travel. And Mickey is our 6th team member to join us here on our Meet the Team feature. And the reason that we do this is we want you to be able to put a face with the best-in-class resources that are offered by Avoya Travel. One of the things that we're really proud about at Avoya Travel is that we have the highest ratio of support people like myself, people like Mickey that don't sell travel at all. And you compare that number to the number of independent affiliates that we have in the Avoya Travel network, and that ratio is the best in the industry. And our big, when we plant the flag, it's all about sales. Traditionally, and this year, no exception, Avoya Travel's independent affiliates, those in the Avoya Travel network, they consistently have the highest sales average of any host agency of any of our competitors. And again, 2021 is bearing that to be true as well. So it's because of people like Mickey McBride and his great team that's going to be possible. So Mickey, thank you so much for joining us today. And we really, really appreciate having you as a guest with us on Deck with Avoya.
Chris, thank you so much for having me a part of this. Very excited to be a part of this feature and talk to everyone and share a little bit more about my story and how Avoya has just been absolutely great over the years.
So before we jump into your current role, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about how you first got into the travel industry, how you found Avoya, and what it is about this industry that keeps you wanting to come back for more, keeps you fired up for the future.
I mean, it's travel. Like how much more exciting can that be, right? It's really actually kind of a funny story. My brother-in-law started with Avoya right after college, and he's now with the company for almost 10 years. And I joined about 8 years ago, thanks to his efforts. He actually helped get my first job back when we were 16, and now here we are in our 30s, and been working together for over 8 years now. So it's kind of ironic that we've come full circle and started off making sandwiches at Quiznos in our hometown, and now working for such a great organization and such an amazing industry. What keeps me fired up about working in travel, it really comes down to the relationships. It's the amazing people that I've met on both our supplier side of things and then great brands that we work with, and then on the independent agency side of things. It's just a passionate industry, passionate individuals about products and destinations and experiences and memories that you don't get in other industries. So that's what's keeping me fired up, and it's been a great run for 8 years. I've always kind of worked in a similar capacity to what I do today, but just as the company's continued to evolve and been innovative, my role has looked different over the years, and very excited about where we're at.
You said a key word. You said the word relationships, and I always like to say that relationships matter, especially in the travel industry. I mean, travel is one of those industries that relationships still make a huge difference. As the Director of Partner Development, tell us a little bit about your role and what that might look like on a day-to-day basis and how that impacts the members of the Avoya Travel Network.
Yeah, ultimately it's to bring success to the independent agencies. And we work very closely with a number of preferred partners to really serve as that liaison between what the supplier's efforts are and ultimately how to generate sales for the independent agencies. My role is a little bit unique in that I work closely with our business intelligence team as well on some of the analytical side of things, more of the back end reporting and financials. But really the primary purpose of what I do and what my team does to impact the Avoya Travel Network is to make sure that engagement with our suppliers is going well, that we're continuing to generate live leads for these independent agencies, to expand their product knowledge across so many different partners out there. What we do specifically is to really help nurture and develop those relationships with more of our newer partners, I'll say, or the ones that continue to have that propensity to become a bigger partner with more leads and more awareness. So whether it's through events, whether it's through our marketing efforts, webinars, things like that, ultimately what we're trying to do is build a nice success between the Avoya network and the suppliers that we work with.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. I can tell you that. And it's certainly one of the things that my team loves to be able to brag about is the success that you and your team have. Avoya Travel, we've always prided ourselves on being innovative and kind of pushing the boundaries and making the future of the industry happen now. Tell me a little bit about some of the specific projects that you and your team are involved with, and maybe how some of that had to change because of the impacts that happened because of COVID-19.
Yeah, it's been a wild year. We were with a group of independent agencies in Cancun where things were really about to get shut down. We didn't know if we'd be able to make it home. And to think that here we are almost a year later, what we can do to kind of continue to set everyone up for success with this rebound. So a few years ago, I was actually very involved with our expansion on the all-inclusive resort side of things. That has not changed as a focus for Avoya. Obviously, resorts, both domestically in Mexico and the Caribbean, continue to be a form of travel that people can take now. So that is very important to what we're trying to do. We're further refining what that content looks like, the strategy to continue to drive leads for those products and those destinations for land vacations to the independent agencies. So it's been a kind of a good run over the last few years in building up what our portfolio has looked like. Kind of continue to add those offerings in addition to escorted tour and cruise. And that's going to continue to develop over the course of this year, as it already has throughout the COVID-19 impact. What we're also doing is refining our rollout strategy and how partners can work with us. That's something that we're super excited about to make sure that our suppliers and the independent agencies are both maximizing those mutual efforts in terms of the promotions, exclusive offers, things like that we can provide to the network and to our travelers. Our platform is built upon independent agencies, suppliers, and the travelers. And the more that we can create those synergies, the better that we'll all be from it.
Absolutely, 100% in agreement with that. And, it really goes to the heart of the shared success relationship that we try to build with our independent affiliates. And when I'm talking to potential affiliates on the phone, we talk about how it's so hard to wear so many variety of hats. And when I just hear you talk about the various high-level projects that you're involved with, and then I try to think how a small independent travel agency would try to compete with that, it just, kind of blows your mind. And it really does show that when you join a network that has the best-in-class resources that Avoya Travel has, that you can really focus on the things that matter to you, which is sell travel. Mickey, a few minutes ago in my news segment, I was talking a little bit about how the vendors are very optimistic, and at least at Royal Caribbean, they're looking at the future. And I wonder, in your role as somebody who has to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in our industry, I mean, to be blunt, is that optimism warranted? And is it something that you believe in yourself? Are you excited for where we're headed in the future in this business?
Absolutely. And to kind of cover that last point too, as far as how we're able to provide support, we have, close to 70 preferred partners that we can help provide support in a more mutual beneficial way with increased commissions, leads, engagement, all those things that really help foster the growth for these affiliates. And that's where, having 70 preferred partners and having support behind all that, that's a lot to take on. And that's what our team helps to kind of manage and do. And with that, and having a pulse on not just those 70 preferred partners, but other partners that I work with and develop those relationships with, the optimism is very much warranted. And we're already very excited about, where cruising is going to come back. Obviously, we all thought that things would be progressing a little bit more than they are today. And here we are in February, not with the ships out on the water, but we know that it's going to happen. And we're very excited for what that future looks like, as well as those vendors. They, on the resort side of things, they are incredibly optimistic because they're open now. And they look at cruising coming back as not an obstacle. They look at it as just an extra element of confidence for travel altogether. And so it's kind of this all tides rise approach that when cruising does come back, the destinations will see that rebound, the resorts will see that rebound at levels that they already see today. I mean, Hawaii's performing extremely well as a destination. Mexico, the comfort levels for a lot of these resorts and the protocols that they've put in place have given them just a sense of confidence that they're doing things the right way. They're keeping guests happy, creating those memorable vacation experiences, but also keeping them safe. And so I think that's the biggest part of why we have this just high level of optimism is that it's kind of been proven in certain products already that people can travel, and when things will continue to accelerate on what that rebound looks like, there's proven success behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, one of our goals here at Avoya Travel is that when the dam does burst, we plan on getting our foot on the gas pedal a little bit faster than our competitors. And again, having people in the roles that they play like Mickey does makes a huge difference in that. Hard to believe that we're like really at the 1 year mark, right? In just a week or two, when everything just shut down and the cruises were all coming off. The water and the resorts were all shutting down. We all started working from home. I mean, I've been working from home for years, but everybody else kind of joined that party. When you look back, Mickey, over the last year, what are a couple of the things that you and your team you're just really proud that you guys were able to accomplish, and differences that you've made for the Avoya Travel Network in the last 12 months?
I think one of the biggest elements of what we've been able to do is keep the independent agencies as optimistic and positive as possible. And there's times where it's been hard to do that, but with the level of support that we can provide, the new initiatives that we've overcome in the last 6 to 9 months, with more of an emphasis on domestic travel, continuing to look at new ways to generate live leads, all of those things have kept the independent agencies as optimistic as we can be, right? And one thing in particular that I think we're most proud of, and a huge testament to our events team, is our virtual land forum. So this was a concept that came up a couple of years ago to help independent agencies connect with partners that maybe were newer to Avoya Travel in terms of what their products were, but greater emphasis, again, as a testament to our support of all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, things like that. So we were actually supposed to be in Las Vegas, you and I together there last year, not knowing quite sure what things were going to look like. This was late March, early April, very much as uncertain of times as we've had over the last year. And we had a great event planned with amazing partners focused on destinations. Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority is a wonderful partner, and they were going to do some cool stuff for us while we were out there. A group of almost 150 independent agencies, and then again everything gets shut down. So we had to pivot, rather quickly to make sure that the independent agencies still felt like they had something to look forward to, and that's what our virtual events became. And we ended up turning around this land forum. I want to say 6 weeks. It was probably less than that, and had close to 500 affiliates join us for that event. Had a lot of great free prizes, some content, some things that will continue to help promote whatever destination or product it was that was featured at this event. And so for us to be able to turn that around as quickly as we did, I think that's what I'm most proud of. And that helped set the standard and the bar high for our virtual conference that we had late last year, and then obviously moving into this year as well.
Right, and those who join us every week here on Deck with Avoya, right, might remember a couple of weeks ago we had Tammy Ritchie on, who talked about how all of the events for this year are going to be virtual as well, for a variety of reasons. We still don't know exactly what's going to happen travel-wise 100% yet. And of course, everybody's still just trying to recover financially from, especially in our industry, from the last 12 months. So this gives people a chance to still engage, but not have to come out of pocket for an expensive trip at this time. But
totally, and we have our third annual land forum planned. It's going to be May 4th through the 7th, and the day of that is going to be absolutely amazing. It's just all dedicated to virtual fams. So again, while we're in this environment where we can't necessarily all be together in person, or we can't be at a resort together, whatever it may be, it's really going to be a nice Avoya exclusive opportunity for folks to get a better understanding of what this resort looks like and what are the highlights of that product, what this destination has to offer, things like that. So we're excited about that, and obviously had a lot more time to plan it out than we did last year. So that helps.
And if somebody's listening and they wanted to participate in that, there's still time. If we get you a member of the Avoya Travel Network, there's still time for you to sign up for that great land forum in early May. So again, we'll have my contact information here at the end of our episode. Reach out. I'll get you connected with one of our team members. And again, we can put together the building blocks of a shared success relationship that way.
It's a great first event. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Mickey, let's talk for a second about Mickey McBride, the person outside of Avoya Travel. And I saw on your slide, and I even brought my prop along, right? My Notre Dame hat, right? Because we are both, there you go, there you go. we're both big fans of the Fighting Irish, and I became a fan through my dad, who was a lifelong fan of Notre Dame. Has that always been your team, and how'd you become a fan of those guys?
Yeah, love the hat, Chris. I think partly my name kind of set me up for it. So my full name is Michael Patrick McBride. So if I'm not a fan of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I'd be in trouble there. But yeah, similar to you, started off with my grandpa and my dad being huge fans. I was born in the last time Notre Dame won the championship, so that's always kind of been a cool, special part of my heart. Obviously, wish that they'd have won something since then, but
Right.
we'll get there. And it was obviously something that was a bond between my dad and I. And then when I got into college, one of my best friends growing up went to Notre Dame, went out and visited him, and absolutely just, that's when it kind of really accelerated that this is an amazing university, amazing football team. And ever since then, probably have too much clothing and hats than I need to, but have been very supportive of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. In fact, my wife took me on a surprise stadium tour. We were doing a Chicago, South Bend, and then Michigan trip to see some friends, and we made a day stop at Notre Dame. She arranged a tour, got to stand on the field, met Coach Brian Kelly. Pretty amazing experience for sure.
Yeah, that's fandom like taken to the next level. They just added a nonstop flight from my airport right near the house, right into South Bend. So I've never had a chance to see a home game. I've seen Notre Dame on the road several times. Never had a chance to see a home game. So it's definitely on my bucket list.
Oh, you'll geek out. There's nothing like it. That's for sure.
You know, we always talk about that Avoya Travel is just one big family. We're a family-owned company. The Anderson family continues to own and day-to-day, you know, run Avoya Travel. And being a family affair, it's kind of for you too, right? I mean, you mentioned earlier that you met your wife through Avoya. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so having this family-oriented company is just absolutely amazing from a support staff perspective, also the independent agencies, the way that, you know, they communicate. It's just very much a family feel. And ironically enough, as I mentioned earlier, it started with my brother-in-law, who was the best man at my wedding. He's been with my sister since we were like 13. So very, very deep-rooted family ties to even start. And then I met my wife. She used to be in our events team, and she had connections to Avoya through family friends of hers growing up. So just all these ties. One of my best friends now is on the team. I think you guys met him a couple of weeks ago. Brandon Gaddy, great guy. Another member of our marketing team I played Little League with. So just the connections are nonstop there, and it was pretty special, obviously meeting my wife there. But the way that Avoya celebrated that when we got engaged, we were on our weekly call This Week at Avoya. They surprised us and they made the announcement in front of the entire network. So, you know, keeping it with the family was a big thing at that point, and to continue to have that kind of respect and understanding. And even though my wife hasn't been with Avoya for a few years now, she went off and kind of went into a whole different world and kind of her own family business, so to speak, and helping with what her grandpa's put together. So, you know, the way that the Andersons still ask about my wife, Heather, and people just always, you know, have that deep connection, and checking in with her, with us, it's pretty special.
Yeah, the family vibe here at Avoya, it really is the secret sauce. I mean, I felt that when I was an affiliate in the Avoya Travel Network, that it was just different. And as an employee for the last 7+ years, I mean, I've just never worked anywhere where they just made you feel like you were just part of that family. And we did have your brother-in-law on a couple of weeks ago, Andy Craig, you know, and it was a great segment. And it sounds like he's quite the master barbecuer. So that's always a plus to have in a family connection, is my belief, right?
Oh yeah, we benefit. He actually, him and my sister and their beautiful daughter, who's just over a year old, they live right down the street from us. So when we go on walks, we stop by their house. So being that close to be able to partake in whatever it is he's cooking, is a nice benefit for us. He's always had these hobbies that he's picked up. So whether it's, us going fishing or snowboarding, this is probably my favorite hobby that he's picked up because, I mean, it's good food and can't beat that.
Now, I saw on the slide that you went on your honeymoon to Tahiti, and it was part of a Windstar cruise. Yeah. I mean, just two bucket list things that I would just love to participate in. What was Tahiti like, and how cool was it to be able to visit that, location with Windstar?
Tahiti was absolutely amazing, and we did a combination of Windstar and a few nights on the bungalows, and the Windstar experience was top notch. If you're going to Tahiti, sailing is the way to go. Just because you're able to experience so much more. The resorts, the service, the food is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, on our sailing, I think there were 120 folks on board. Hard to beat that in terms of crowd, and obviously moving forward with safety protocols. Absolutely wonderful experience. It was interesting to learn more about Tahiti, and it's not that much further than going to Hawaii. It's about an 8-hour flight from LA. But understanding the differences between Tahiti and Hawaii, and I think they had said that Hawaii gets more visitors in 3 weeks than Tahiti gets in a year. So it's very much more than I thought it was going to, just because it's such an iconic destination. Beautiful waters, great people. It's worth being on that bucket list. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. We all lost a year of adventures because of COVID, or maybe a year and a half before it's all said and done. Any future trips that you just can't wait to get out, like a makeup trip that you've got on the agenda?
Yeah, so we actually just got back into town, did a road trip. First time we've left home for an extended period of time, and went to Las Vegas for a couple nights to see some friends, and went to Utah, check out some of the ski resorts there, and absolutely had an amazing time. The future trip I'm looking forward to the most will be the first time I'm back on a plane here in April. It's been over a year, which is a long time for what I do for work, and then obviously personal trips. And we're going to Hawaii, and I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't been since I was 12 or 13, so it's been quite a bit of time. My wife grew up going to Hawaii every year, and is excited to go back after an extended period of time too. So that's what I'm most excited about. But really, just anytime travel is resuming, the more positive announcements about ships getting back in the water, destinations opening up, whether or not how quickly I go based off of timing is one thing, but that just continues to add to the excitement of travel as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places in the whole wide world, and certainly a favorite spot, for me, and I can't wait to get back myself. Mickey McBride, our Director of Partner and Development. Mickey, thanks so much for being our special guest today on our Meet the Team feature.
Really enjoyed
having you. Everyone. Absolutely. Mickey McBride, everyone. Next week on our Meet the Team feature, we're going to introduce you to Vicki Dyer. And Vicki is the director of Avoya University, and that should be a wonderful discussion. As we move forward, let's talk about our promotions, right? The offer's been extended, and we talk about it every week, and there's a couple of ways for you to be able to take advantage of it. We've got two kind of different promotions going on. One for a high-end travel professional, right? Somebody that, normally in normal years is generating over $500,000 in gross sales. Maybe you have future travel credits, future cruise credits, reservations on the books, but you're looking for a more secure home, a better place as we come out of this COVID-19 crisis. For those kind of agencies, if you qualify, we're waiving our affiliation fee, waiving the full $495 fee for the initial 6-month agreement. Again, my team is more than happy to get you qualified for that and go over details in all the details and just see what we can do. And then for those that are still trying to get to that level, been in the industry for a couple of years or whatever, but trying to get that volume up to that $500,000 kind of level, we've got a great promotion where you join the network. It's the normal fee, but what we're doing for you is we're waiving the renewal fee at the end of the initial 6-month agreement, as long as both partners want to continue the relationship. So again, reach out. Those promotions have been extended. We can't wait to give you the details. We hope that you've heard some things today that kind of spark your curiosity and want you to reach out. You can do that with complete flexibility. There's no exclusive agreements, nothing like that. So again, reach out and contact us. There's my information on the screen. It's chris.green@avoyatravel.com. That's my email. There's the telephone number. You can always reach us through our website and get a lot of great details about Avoya Travel at avoyanetwork.com. You can message us here on Facebook at the Avoya Travel Network page. Just find a way to reach out. We'll put you in connection with one of our teammates and we'll move it forward from there. Again, thank you so much to my special guest this week, Mickey McBride. I look forward to having Vicky Dyer on next week. Big thanks to Marissa Smith, who produces our segment and does a fantastic job. Hope you have a fantastic week, that the good news just continues to get better. And again, thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.